God, you are welcome to Royal Priesthood. We gather as priests to serve God in holiness and in righteousness. You are welcome to worship with us on our Sunday services, which starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Praise, testimonies, deliverance, and you shall be greatly blessed. Our midweek services comes up every Wednesdays from 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Sessions and intercessions on some pertinent issues. Our Friday services begin at midnight, 12 a.m. Eastern Time, 11 p.m. services and other pertinent issues. If you wish to speak with someone for prayers, counseling and advice, suggestion or anything, please don't hesitate to reach us at 240-486-0141 or 774-240-4418. If you are a widow, please reach out to Evangelist Harima at 774-240-4418. As well as the motherless, reach out to Minister Riza at 917-769-2677. We would love to know you, pray with you, and encourage you, as you also encourage us. Thank you. Our lines are open. If you have a testimony to share with us, you could either record a text, you could either write a text, record it on audio or a video, or directly, or for any support for God's work. If you wish to send in your offerings, church contributions, or any other form of support which you want to support the work of God, we have various mediums through which you can do that. We have Zelle, Cash App, and PayPal. Remain blessed.
You are the most high God, Jehovah. You are the most high, Jehovah. You are the most high, shout Jehovah. You are the most high, Jehovah. You are the most high God, Jehovah. You are the most high, Jehovah. You are the most high God, Jehovah. You are the most high, Jehovah. You are the most high God, Jehovah. You are the most high, Jehovah. You are the most high God. Arafaina manova, siamo. Arafaina manova, siamo. Arafaina manova, siamo. There is none like you. Arafaina manova, siamo. Arafaina manova, siamo. Arafaina manova, siamo. Oh, there is none like you, Jehovah. You are the most high, Jehovah. You are the most high God, Jehovah. my God. The reason why we are alive, Lord. Jehovah, you are the most high God. Jehovah, you are the most high. Jehovah, you are the most high God. Jehovah, you are the most high. Jehovah, you are the most high God. If you're sure he's the reason why you are alive today, if you're sure that he's the reason why you're able to breathe today, do not close your mouth. Open your mouth and worship him. Reverence his holy name. Adore and glorify his holy name. Worship the one that gave you the opportunity to wake up this.
A young pastor went out one day for evangelism. And while this young pastor was out on evangelism, he met a blind beggar. He was led by the Spirit to pray for this blind beggar, who suddenly regained his sight while the young pastor was praying for him. When he regained his sight, the pastor was so happy. This young pastor was full of joy at what God has just done, how God had restored the sight of this blind beggar. The young pastor was so happy. He was filled with joy. He was filled with happiness. But when he turned around, to his greatest surprise, this man, this blind beggar that has just regained his sight, was filled with anger, was filled with pain, was filled with bitterness, was filled with frustration, and started raining curses and insults on the young pastor. To the surprise of the young pastor, he asked, "What is going on? What have I done?" And the man said, "Did you ask for permission? Did you ask me for permission before praying for me?" The man said, "Begging was my main source of income." He said, "This is what I've used to train my children. This is where I make a living. Where do you want me to go from here? What do you want me to do after this?" The man said, "How do I start life?" The man said, "I started a mansion from this begging. I built a mansion and it's about completion. I trained my children to the stage of university with this begging. And you just spoiled my source of income." Say, "Did I ask for your prayers? Did I ask you to pray for me? Did you ask for my permission?" He said, "If I leave this begging, now that you've healed me, where will I get another job? Which job can be able to sustain my family and be able to make me to complete my mansion?" Say, "Those who are out there, do they have the job that I have? Do they earn what I earn?" The man was bitter. The man was angry. And before the pastor could know it, he called the cops. He called the police. And this man was picked up. This young pastor was picked up and thrown in jail. When he got to jail, after some days later, he was brought right in front of the head of the unit. You know, in the prison, every unit, they have a head, a leader. So he was brought in front of the leader, and the leader was asking him, "Tell us, what brought you to prison? What brought you to jail?" as their normal routine. So the man explained the incident, how he healed, he prayed, and God healed a blind beggar, thinking it was something of good, of celebration, of joy, of happiness, being able to restore his sight, that he can be free again to see. But the man was bitter, the man was angry, and the man requested he be thrown to jail. So he said, this is what brought me to jail. And the head of the prison felt pity for the young pastor. He felt pity for him. Days passed, weeks passed, and the day came, and they called the young pastor, and he was released from prison. But before he left, he requested to pray for this leader, for the leader, the head in the unit where he was found. And to his surprise, the head declined. He refused that the pastor shouldn't pray for him. And the pastor asked, why? Why don't you want me to pray for you? And the man said, I have been in jail for so long. He said, this is my home. This is my family. This is my income. This is where I make a living. I am the head here. I earn respect. I have benefits in this place. People respect me. I am an authority. He said, if you pray for me and I get released from this prison and I go out there, where will I start from? Where will I start? This is where I get my benefits. This is where I make a living. This is where I get respect. This is where I earn authority. This is where they respect me. If I go out there, where do I start from? All the benefits I have in jail, all the benefits I have in prison, I am going to lose everything. He said, no, I don't want to be released. I want to remain in this place. Why the young pastor was wondering about this, he was thinking, he was meditating and asking, how can people refuse freedom? How can someone refuse freedom? How can someone prefer to be in jail? How can someone prefer to be in blindness? How can someone prefer to be in darkness? While he was meditating about this, then he woke up from his dream. While he was thinking about what the dream was all about, while he prayed for the blind man and he got restored and he was taken to prison and the man refused to be prayed for, while he was thinking about all what happened, transpired in the dream, he heard a voice say to him, share on this topic, life in prison. And today, this morning, people of God, we're going to share from the sermon of this young pastor, life in prison. Tell somebody, life in prison, life in Egypt,
Life in prison.
in darkness, life in prison. Can we clap for Jesus? This morning we are going to share from the story, the sermon that the Holy Spirit gave this young pastor. Do you know many prefer to remain in prison? Do we know many prefer to remain in hell? Do we know many prefer to be in jail? Many prefer to be in their situation. Many prefer to remain in that life of hell, in that life of prison. They say, where do I go from here? They say, I've been in this activity. I have been in jail for so long. I have been in prison for so long. I have been in darkness for so long. I have been a prostitute for so long. I have been an armed robber for so long. If I get set free, if I leave this place, if I get out of my prison, if I get out of Egypt and go to the land of freedom, if I come out of this place, where do I start from? They get benefits. They have a position in hell. They have a position in prison. They prefer to remain in prison. They prefer to remain in hell. They prefer to remain in darkness. Don't be surprised. Many you preach about salvation. Many you talk to about Jesus. Many you talk to about freedom. They prefer to remain in their old life. You preach to an armed robber. You preach to a criminal. You preach to a prostitute. They say, oh, I've been in this activity for so long. I earn respect in this activity. I have benefits in this activity. This is what I earn a living. This is my source of income. A criminal, a prostitute in that activity prefer to remain there because they think if they leave, where would they make a living? How do they start life afresh? You earn benefits from that activity of fornication. You earn benefits from that activity of lies telling, of gossiping, of manipulation, of immorality. You earn benefits. That is where you make a living. As an armed robber, that is where you make a living. As a prostitute, that is where you make a living. And you say, I can't leave this activity. You say, I can't leave prison. You say, I can't leave darkness. If I leave, what happens to my benefits? If I leave jail, what happened to this position? You are a gambler. You make money from gambling, from deceiving people, from robbing people. You have benefits from gambling. You have benefits from this activity. You refuse freedom. Life in prison. Life in Egypt. Prison can be your home. Egypt can be your family. Hell can be your job, can be your activity, can be your country where you come from, can be the nation where you were born. Hell, prison can be the community where you find yourself. In that job, in that activity, in that community where you're coming from, in that county, in that village, in that nation where you were born, where you find yourself, can be your hell, can be your prison, can be that place that you have acquired a position, you have acquired benefits, and you find yourself so difficult to leave that place, to leave that darkness, to leave that prison, to leave that place of immorality, to leave that life of sin, to live that life of immorality. You find it difficult because you earn benefits. You are a fornicator, you are an adulterer, you are a lie teller, you have benefits, you are a corrupt person.
Watching. We'll be right back. Keep watching. We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
The strong do not need God. The smart do not need Jesus. The intelligent do not need Jesus as their friend. The rich, the wise, they don't need Jesus as their friend. Only the weak, only the poor, only the sick, only the broken-hearted, only the disappointed, only the discouraged need a friend. Will you like to be the friend of Jesus Christ? You are an embezzler. You have benefits from that activity. That is what you earn. That is where you gain. And you say, how can I leave this activity and gain freedom? I know we are all surprised. We are all shocked. We are all surprised. How did the blind man actually turn away the blessings of his sight being restored? How could someone actually refuse for his sight to be restored? He preferred to be blind because of the benefits he gained from that activity. How can someone in jail, in prison, where you have no freedom, prefer to remain in prison? It's the same thing. Some of us in our immorality, some of us in our sinful life, some of us are in hell, some of us are in darkness. We prefer to stay in that position because we get benefits from that life of sin, from that life of lie-telling, from that life of immorality. They refuse freedom. They refuse a new life from Jesus. They prefer evil. They prefer darkness. They prefer immorality. They prefer wrongdoing. They prefer sin. They want to go back to that place. They want to go back to that environment. They want to go back to that activity, which they do all their life, where they get benefits, where they earn respect, where they are known. How would they be able to make it if they leave that place? How would they be able to make it if they leave that activity? How would they be able to make it if they leave that community where they earn respect, where they are known, where they gain benefits? How would they be able to leave? They prefer to remain in prison. They prefer to remain in that community. They prefer to remain in that job. They prefer to remain in that nation, in that place, in that Egypt of evil. Though with the evil going on there, they like it because that's where their benefits. Though with the immorality, though with the sin, though with the darkness that's going on in that place, they prefer, they like it because that's where they get benefits. A pig likes to remain in mud. A pig likes to remain in his vomit. A pig, no matter how you clean it, will always go back to the mud. That is the life of some of us. Oh, I hope we learn this, so we are not ignorant when we see one. When they reluctantly accept, some might accept to come out from the prison. Some might say, okay, let me live this life of darkness. Let me live this life of immorality. Let me accept Jesus. Let me accept freedom. Let me come out from this life of darkness. When they reluctantly accept and they come out, anytime they see pain, anytime they see sorrow, anytime they see tribulations, anytime they go hungry, anytime they go without food, anytime they go without money, they say, oh, at least in Egypt, we even had food to eat. They say, at least in prison, they give us food once a day. What kind of life is this? Now that I've accepted freedom, now that I've accepted Jesus, I go one day without food, I go 2 days, I go months without any money in my pocket. When I was in prison, when I was in darkness, when I was in prostitution, immorality, there was no day I would go without food, without money in my bank account. Now that I am free, now that I've accepted Jesus, Exodus chapter 14, verse 2. The book of Exodus chapter 14. I'll read verse 12, sorry. Exodus 14, verse 12. I read in Jesus' name. They said, listen, did not we tell you before we left that this would happen? We told you to leave us alone and let us go on being slaves of the Egyptians. It would be better to be slaves there than to die here in the desert. Listen to people who have suffered in bondage, to people who have been in prison all their life. Now when they see freedom, because they go a day without food, they go a day without water, they say, we prefer to have been in prison. We prefer to have been in bondage. We prefer to have been in immorality. We prefer to have been in darkness. I prefer to have continued being in hell with the devil. I prefer to be in prostitution. I prefer to continue my life of immorality, of armed robbery. At least there was no day I will go without food. There was no day I lacked money in my bank account. That is what the Israelites are saying. They're saying to Moses, we would have preferred to die in Egypt and be slaves. How can you prefer to be a slave? How can you prefer to be in hell? How can you prefer to stay in hell? How can you prefer to remain in immorality, in sin, in wickedness? How? They say, at least we had food to eat. But here we don't have food. At least in prison, some humanitarian organizations will provide us with medications when we are sick. We don't have to bother about our health. People will take care of it. At least in prison, I have food to eat. But now, in Christ Jesus, it's fasting, it's prayers. They prefer to be in hell. Exodus 16, I just read again from verse 2 and 3. Let's digest more what the Israelites are saying. Exodus 16, verse 2 and 3. There in the desert, they all complained to Moses and Aaron and said to them, we wish the Lord had killed us in Egypt. Oh my God. There we could at least sit down and eat meat and as much other food as we wanted. But you have brought us out into this desert to starve us all to death. Listen to that. They prefer to be in Egypt. They prefer to be in prison. They prefer to be in darkness. Life of a Christian in prison. Are you that type? Are you that type of a Christian that you prefer to be in a life of bondage? You prefer, you say you are a Christian, but you are still living in prison. Prison is darkness. Prison is sin. Prison is immorality. Because at least there you have benefits. You have a rank. In your prostitution, you have benefits. They pay you. In your armed robbery, you have benefits. In your lies telling, you have benefits. When you tell lies, it's for a purpose. When you lie against someone, they motivate you, they encourage you by giving you something financially or material. You have benefits as a gossiper. You have benefits as a fornicator, an adulterer. You have benefits. Our message is to encourage each and every one of us Christians to come out, to live, to identify when we see one. As Christians, we will all experience seasons of prison in our lives, seasons of pains, seasons of Egypt, seasons of immorality, seasons of darkness, seasons of attacks, seasons of sin, seasons that we go through darkness. We will experience it. And when we experience such moments, when we are tested, people of God, each time we go through such situations, we will see breakthrough. We will see victory. We will see success. We will see abundance of God's grace in our lives. We will see God manifesting himself mightily in that situation. We will see God come to help us, to rescue us when we go through those challenges. God will not abandon us. God will not leave us. And when we see such a situation, it is a time, it is a season for us to be careful. Very careful. Very careful. Because after each victory, after each breakthrough, after each success is Satan's bait.